Yes, so good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever time you are listening or watching this presentation. My name is Raymond Kaburi, and today I'm presenting on enhancing instructional design to be specific, backward design, and Bloom's taxonomy. Yeah, so by way of introduction, we would like to look at what the backward design is and what it entails, and the backward design is a type of instructional design which focuses fundamentally on the outcomes of a particular content before you plan and design activities or experiences that will yield or result in those outcomes. So, first of all, we need to explore the key to the instructional design framework, that is identifying and analyzing the frameworks that influence effective instructional design. Then we look at a proposal of aligning for assessment or suggesting methods to ensure the assessment methods measure critical and thinking skills. We also look at emphasizing on creativity or critical thinking skills to uh, incorporate creative thinking assessment in our practices. And last but not the least, we focus on critical thinking skills, highlighting the importance of evaluation of our students. So, let me put this to you. All right. So, the next is to look at our backward design concept. Like I said in the previous slide, we first of all have to, as a backward design strategy, we identify the desired results and then we look at that is the steps involved in defining what learners should understand and be able to do at the end of the instruction. And then, secondly, we have to determine the acceptable evidence, which entails deciding how to measure whether students have achieved the desired results through assessment or other forms of evaluation. And last but not the least, we look at planning the learning experiences or the activities of the instruction. And in this phase, educators design the activities and instruction strategies that will guide students toward achieving the desired outcomes. Now, we want to look at the Bloom's taxonomy in structuring our objectives for our backward design. Now, Bloom's taxonomy is an educational theory that was formulated by Benjamin Bloom and with other, together with other science, other educators, and they had this particular taxonomy in six cognitive levels. That is, remember, understand, apply, analyze, and evaluate, and lastly, create. And these levels guide educators in developing structured learning objectives and assessment across different cognitive processes. So, in order for also for us to be able to have a good backward design, we need to, as we have defined our objectives using the Benjamin Bloom's cognitive objective identification levels, six levels. We need to combine it together with the understanding by design framework, which is short formed the UBD, for us to be able to have an effective instructional design. So first and foremost, if we want we for us to be able to use this UBD framework, we have to go back to what we've talked about in our fundamental design, that is the backward design, to identify desired results. That is what students to know and be able to do. Then we get our evidence. That is how we will know if they have learned or achieved what we are planning for them to achieve. Then we now design a learning plan. That is the activities that will lead to the achievement of these desired results. And our mission in all this is for us to be able to empower students to autonomously be able to apply comprehension and analytical skills, and to focus on enhancing students' agency in their learning process. Also, we want to encourage critical and creative thinking abilities, and fostering these students will prepare them for complex problem solving abilities, not just for them to memorize and write standardized tests, but or learning in a form of abstract, but be able to apply whatever they've learned in the classroom in real life situation to solve problems. And for us to also be able to do this, we also need to try as much as we can to be able to overcome the assessment gap, and which is a disparity between common formative assessment, as the CFAs, and the summative assessment in measuring higher order thinking. And the CFAs often focus on recall and understanding, while the summative assessment requires application analysis and as well as creation of knowledge or artifact. So the proposed solution, like I said, is that we try to incorporate the UBD framework to align with our CFAs, that is our formative assessment, together with our summative assessment, and focus on how to apply the Bloom's taxonomy to ensure that our assessment measure critical and creative thinking abilities. My implementation plan is that I redesign the CFAs using the UBD and the Bloom's taxonomy as guides, and to ensure formative and summative assessments to that they target high order skills, and provide professional development for teachers on the backward design, as well as to align them together for how we do our assessment. The expected outcomes out of the backward design is that we have several of them, but these are the major three that I want to talk about today. And this is to improve alignment between instruction and assessment. Secondly, is to enhance students' abilities to be able to think critically and creatively. And last but not the least is that greater student autonomy, greater student autonomy in tackling complex problems. Now, to conclude, I would like to say that for us to have effective educators, or to have effective instruction planning, number one, these are the things that we need to know to bring our video to an end, is that the backward design methodology focus on starting with the end goals in mind. And this approach ensures that educational planning aligns with desired planning outcomes, and students are making instruction more purposeful and effective. Number two is that we need to understand Bloom's taxonomy to provide a framework for categorizing our goals, so that it helps our educators to create assessment to promote higher order thinking and encourage deeper understanding of the study material. Number three is that we need to understand the UBD that advocates for aligning teaching practices and assessment with ultimate learning goals, and helping us to foster more coherent educational experiences. And number four is that for the importance of the planning the instruction around desired outcomes is very crucial, because when we have effective instruction, it requires clear objectives and guide both teaching and assessment to ensure that our students achieve their learning targets. Number five is that we need to encourage critical thinking and personal interpretation of text or content to develop independent learning and proper promoting literacy. The last but not the least is that we try to align our assessment with critical and creative thinking skills at the application level, not only for us to test students or assess them to pass tests or exams by memorization, but for them to be able to think creatively, innovatively, to be able to solve problems and demonstrate it at a deeper level in terms of application in solving real life problems. So, to conclude, this is my presentation on backward design, and these are the resources or the references that help me to present this design to you this afternoon. Thank you very much.